are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are some teams, the league is afraid that there are some teams' games where you could get into the playoff game for $6. That is how low some of these ratings might be and how low some of these ticket prices might be. Let's get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification. Let's go. WNBA is in a frenzy right now.
Indiana Fever playoff tickets are now going for just $9. Yeah, you heard that right. $9. That's less than what you'd pay for a fast food combo meal, and we're not talking about some random preseason game or the very last row in the arena. This is WNBA playoff basketball, and somehow it's cheaper than grabbing a burrito with extra guac.
The WNBA is in a panic right now. The WNBA higher-ups are panicking. They don't know what's gonna happen. I already let y'all know. I showed y'all the numbers that they was concerned about the playoff ratings and what they will be for the networks. They're concerned about it already. No Caitlin Clark here to carry everybody. They don't know how these numbers are gonna look. Tickets are they're already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets. There are teams already doing Black Friday sales for playoff tickets.
But here's the twist. Caitlin Clark isn't even on the floor. She's stuck on the bench in street clothes, and with that, the whole basketball world feels upside down.
It's $9. This is the cheapest it's been to get into an Indiana Fever game all year. This is actually the cheapest it's been. Look, I still think it's going to be nearly a sellout because I'm sorry, if I lived anywhere near Indiana, if it was 10 quid, I'd go to the game. I'd go to the game. I'd absolutely go to the game. I don't care. I'll pay $10. It's cheaper to be in the arena watching the game than it is to sit at home. Probably more expensive than it would cost to go to to pay for one game on Fever Direct, I'd say, if that's a thing.
The Indiana Fever, a team that once had tickets going for hundreds, even thousands when their star guard was on the floor, is now practically handing out playoff seats like leftovers nobody's interested in.
Understandable in this era to figure that tickets for playoff games are more expensive than the regular season, but Fever tickets for Tuesday night remain very affordable. $12, $13. I don't know what they're going to lie about as far as attendance goes. We're going to get into that momentarily. There are tons of tickets, hundreds of tickets available, if not thousands of tickets still available for tonight's game at a cheap price of a hoagie sandwich and a bag of chips from Wawa. You know, during Hoagie Fest nonetheless. A hoagie and a bag of chips from Wawa. You can get into Gainesbridge Arena.
This is the same franchise that when Caitlin Clark was on the floor had fans dropping anywhere from $670 to more than $4,000 just for the chance to be in the building with her. Now, you can snag a playoff seat with spare change and still cover the parking fee.
WNBA is in a frenzy right now. The cash cow is not available to play. The Golden Goose is not available right now. That is Caitlin Clark. So now everyone has to get their numbers on their own. We saw Caitlin Clark bring in a whopping 1.8 million viewers for her first playoff game versus the Connecticut Sun last season. That was more than all of the other playoff games that was played that day combined. More than all of the other playoff games played that day combined. WNBA's in panic.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, let's be real for a second. When Caitlin Clark was on the floor, Fever tickets weren't just basketball tickets. They were the hottest item in all of sports. She wasn't just moving the needle, she was the needle. Clark alone fueled 26.5% of the entire WNBA's economy, creating nearly $1 billion in impact. $1 billion. With a B, that's more than the annual GDP of some entire countries.
Last year, the cheapest ticket available to see the Indiana Fever at the Connecticut Sun in the first round of the 2024 WNBA playoffs, $133. Let's just say it's not near that expensive this year. It's not. So right there, Indiana Fever just had Caitlin Clark cut a WWE promo I'm waiting for CM Punk to run out of the tunnel. There's Mr. Punk right there.
Right now, ticket prices are so low, they make the dollar menu look pricey. You can grab a playoff seat for just $9, and even courtside is going for around $200. Courtside, that's the kind of money you'd normally drop for a decent spot at a high school gym. The gap is insane, and honestly, it says everything about what this league is truly built on. When Caitlin Clark was healthy, draining logo threes, and whipping no-look passes, Fever games weren't just packed, they were breaking records. Over 17,000 fans at home, more than the city's NBA team. On the road, arenas had to be upgraded just to fit the demand. The Washington Mystics jumped from a 4,200 seat arena to a 14,000 seat venue. The Chicago Sky left their 10,400 arena for the United Center, a massive 20,000 seats. That's the Caitlin Clark effect, undeniable and unmatched.
You can get courtside seats for $200. It is $200 to go sit courtside. Second row courtside behind the basket is $200. 1 to 3 tickets. It is $200 to sit courtside this game. This is in fact the cheapest. It is cheaper to go to this Fever game. This is the cheapest it's been to get into the Fever all year. Why? Why is it the cheapest? Because, well, you see, these tickets went on sale after the Indiana Fever announced Caitlin Clark was going to be injured for the season.
And this is where things went completely off the rails. On September 4th, Caitlin Clark announced she'd miss the rest of the season, playoffs included, because of a nagging groin injury. In that instant, it felt like a switch had been flipped. The buzz around Indiana Fever basketball evaporated. This was a team that had just set franchise records for wins and road dominance, but without Clark, they were treated like an afterthought. Their September 16th playoff matchup, the first postseason game in Indianapolis since 2016, should have been a party. Instead, it became proof of just how much weight one superstar can carry for an entire league. Fans who once dropped thousands just to be in the same arena as Clark suddenly couldn't be bothered. $9 tickets? They were skipped over like junk mail.
Last time the Indiana Fever posted a video of Caitlin Clark talking was almost a month ago, but they know who they need to post when it's time to sell tickets. Damn! Putting CC front and center only when it's time to sell tickets. Oh boy. Oh boy. And we're talking about the tickets, folks. Don't hate the player, hit the game. I'm just a lonely messenger. That's it. Look at these ticket prices. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Look at these ticket prices. $13, $12, $55 for section 100. $27, $147 for section 5, $55 for section 19, $330 for courtside seats. Ho!
This story goes way beyond just the Indiana Fever. It's really the WNBA being forced to look in the mirror and confront what life without its biggest star actually means. Caitlin Clark's absence isn't just about empty seats in an arena. It shakes the foundation of everything: TV ratings, merchandise sales, and overall buzz around the league. All season long, the pattern was obvious. Whenever Clark missed time, the fallout was immediate and brutal. Earlier in the year, she sat out 5 games, and league viewership plummeted by 55%. Matchups that usually pulled in over 1 million viewers suddenly struggled to break 350,000. Even the All-Star game, where she was slated to be a captain, suffered. Without her, ratings tanked 36%. It's the same as going to a concert and realizing the headliner isn't coming out. Suddenly, no one really cares about the opening acts. Harsh? Sure. But the empty arenas and bargain bin ticket prices prove its reality.
I think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. This news is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA.
Here's where things get both fascinating and painfully sad for Indiana. The Fever didn't just draft Caitlin Clark, they built their entire identity around her. She was the number one pick, the centerpiece of the offense, and the reason this team went from being overlooked to becoming the hottest ticket in the league. Clark didn't just improve their play on the floor, she elevated the entire brand. Now, without her, the Fever are left trying to convince fans that Kelsey Mitchell's 20 points per game and Aaliyah Boston's steady presence in the paint are enough to keep playoff seats filled. And to be clear, both are outstanding talents who deserve respect, but the reality is unforgiving. The market is talking, and it's talking in the form of $9 tickets. The same fans who once lined up hours in advance just to watch Clark warm up are now treating postseason basketball like a throwaway weeknight outing. And that's the real tragedy here. The Fever should be celebrating a historic season, 24 wins, 10 on the road, and back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time since 2015. Instead, it feels less like a party and more like a funeral for what might have been.
They're already doing deals. Like they're trying to give you a free tire change. They're trying to give you a free car wash and all types of stuff to get out to these games. This is wild. Look at how empty this arena is. Look at how empty it is. The cheapest ticket, $6. Yeah, I could spot a nickel on the floor right there, row 2, section D1.
Let's take a step back, because what's happening here exposes an uncomfortable truth about the WNBA that most people are too afraid to say out loud. This league needs Caitlin Clark more than it has ever needed any single player. This isn't like LeBron James walking away from Cleveland. This is realizing your entire business model is hanging on the shoulders of one 23-year-old point guard whose body is already showing cracks. The explosion of growth in 2024 wasn't some accident. It was Clark. She dragged the WNBA into the mainstream spotlight, filled arenas, and turned casuals into paying customers. Attendance skyrocketed 48% compared to 2023. A record 154 games sold out. Average attendance ballooned from just over 6,600 fans to nearly 10,000. And the TV ratings? They didn't just improve. They shattered records across every network. But here's the catch. When your entire momentum rides on one superstar, the moment she's sidelined, everything collapses. And the proof is right there in front of us. Playoff tickets selling for the price of a fast food combo.
Caitlin Clark was first. You know what would have also put asses in seats? Indiana Fever clearing Caitlin Clark to play the game of basketball. That would have done it. I promise you. I promise you that would have done it. Again, I believe we deserve to know who ordered the code red. It's a lot different if it is Caitlin Clark and her people believe that, and her medical team believe that she could not play. If it was Stephanie White in the Indiana Fever, I believe that changes everything, as far as I'm concerned.
The timing of Caitlin Clark's injury couldn't have been worse for the WNBA. The league is right in the middle of a massive growth spurt, adding expansion teams, locking in an 11-year, $2.2 billion media rights deal set to kick off in 2026, and renegotiating player salaries as corporate sponsors rush to get involved. Everything was lining up for the WNBA to finally cement itself as a major professional sports league. And then, disaster. Their biggest star, the player responsible for nearly 27% of the league's entire economic activity, goes down right before the most critical stretch of the season. It's like a restaurant finally earning its first Michelin star, only for the head chef to call in sick on opening night. The venue is still there, the lights are still on, but the one ingredient that makes it all special is suddenly missing when it matters most.
Back and forth from all the WNBA players that the league is not just Caitlin Clark. Stop acting like the league is not just Caitlin Clark. There are other people who are doing things. So Caitlin Clark has been injured, so she hasn't been playing. Since Caitlin Clark went down, the WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%
Yikes.
across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the...
Maybe the most eye-opening part of all this is how fast the fans disappeared. And we're not talking about casual viewers flipping channels. These were diehards who shelled out big money to watch Caitlin Clark in person, driving in from Iowa to Indiana, loading up on jerseys, and tuning into every single game like it was religion. They were the backbone of the WNBA's rise. But the second Clark was ruled out of the playoffs, everything shifted. Those same fans suddenly weren't interested in $200 courtside seats. Instead, the only conversation was whether $9 general admission was even worth it. That's not an insult to the other players or the level of basketball on the floor. It's just the cold reality of pro sports. Fans follow stars, not just the concept of competition. They want to witness greatness. And for the past 2 years, Caitlin Clark has been the very definition of greatness in women's basketball.
So, like a lot of people, I started following the WNBA, and I'm sorry, I hate to sound cliche, but it is because of Caitlin Clark. I flew my family to Indy to catch the game opener, and it was just such an amazing thing to see. We fell in love with the city. We, of course, also fell in love with the Pacers, and we followed every game since.
The Indiana Fever and the WNBA are facing a harsh reality. When you put all your hopes on one superstar, everything collapses the moment she's gone. Caitlin Clark's injury has exposed just how much both the franchise and the league rely on her presence. It's a stark reminder that no matter how incredible one player may be, building an entire business around a single star is a dangerous gamble. For Indiana, this is a wake-up call about managing players and protecting them from wear and tear. Clark missed large chunks of 2025 battling soft tissue injuries, and every single time, the fallout was immediate. Ticket sales dropped, TV numbers plummeted, and buzz around the team nearly vanished overnight. If she's truly the face of this franchise, then keeping her healthy isn't optional. It's everything. And for the WNBA as a whole, this is proof that the league needs more than one face to carry the spotlight. The fact that attendance and ratings nosedive so dramatically whenever Clark sits shows that the recent growth, as impressive as it's been, isn't as secure as it looks. At the end of the day, those $9 playoff tickets say more than any press release ever could. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark. The Fever desperately need Caitlin Clark. Without her, playoff basketball in Indiana slips from a must-see event into something fans don't mind skipping. Is that fair to the rest of the roster? Probably not, but it's the truth about sports. Fans don't fall in love with jerseys. They fall in love with stars who make them believe they're watching something extraordinary.
Is a superstar from top to bottom. You never seen a woman shoot the ball like that or pass the ball like that. It has that fire. You downplay it, you diminish it, you try to kill it. You almost killed it, but thank God Caitlin Clark is a strong human being. But the fact that they're trying to replace her with someone subpar talent, subpar in entertainment value is ridiculous, and try to give credit to those who don't really deserve credit and try to have players to be the face who aren't really the face. The one thing about the face of the league, it's not chosen by the league, it's chosen by the...
For the past 2 years, Caitlin Clark has been the spark that turned women's basketball into must-see entertainment. Her absence in these playoffs, reflected in ticket prices dropping to historic lows, shows just how rare and valuable that level of star power truly is. The WNBA finally discovered its golden goose, and now they're experiencing what happens when that goose is grounded. $9 tickets aren't just bargains. They're a blunt reminder that in professional sports, one player really can be the difference between sellouts and silence, between primetime television and background noise. And without Caitlin Clark, Indiana's playoff run has turned into the cheapest letdown in sports. The real question isn't whether this situation is shocking. It's both shocking and embarrassing. The real question is what the WNBA and the Fever will actually do with this wake-up call. Will they learn the difference between sustainable growth and complete over-reliance on one superstar? Because those empty seats at Gainbridge Fieldhouse are screaming louder than any headline ever could.